Hey, 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 good morning, good morning, good morning. Come on in. It's me, Christy, and I'm here with the Tuesday Tea with me. And we are here with We Should All Be Millionaires. I'm talking about chapters 4 through 6. Hey, good morning, Pamela. I see you over there on YouTube at Christy Cuter Than Most Accessories. And I am also here on my personal page and on my business page for the Tuesday tea. The tea is piping hot on this Tuesday morning. So I'm just going to jump right into this. What I have realized when opening this book is her story is oh so similar to my own. So if you don't have this book, go grab it and then go back and grab and watch the replay of my other videos. Come on in here and say hi. Don't be a stranger. Comment where you are watching my live from and how did you find me over here on the Tuesday Tea. So in this book on chapter 4, which is around pages 50, last week we talked about $1 million business, $1 million squad, and then the $1 million vision. Hey, from Texas, welcome here in Texas where it's bigger and better. Is that what they say? Everything's big in Texas, something like that. So today we're going to talk about, in this is chapters 4 through 6. So she talks about $1 million boundaries, $1 million squad. I'm going to stick to for this 30 minutes the $1 million vision. The book is, as Stacy asked over here on my Facebook page, we should all be millionaires. We should all be millionaires is the book that we're on. And we should. So she opens up and talks about how when she was in her $1 million vision, and this is on page, I'm going to get to it right here. Page 99. She says that she was in a 1,100 square foot home. I am in a 2,000 square foot home. She had 5 people in her house with a part-time. Her daughter was with her. Bonus daughter was with her part-time. So her husband's daughter, their daughter, was with their part-time. That's my story. There's 5 of us, and I have my bonus baby who's with us part-time. Then she says that her escape from sanity was going out for walks or runs or things of that nature. During the pandemic, that was my escape, but it wasn't just the walk and runs. I do walking and running now. The real escape during the pandemic for me, because this 2,000 square feet, she had, I think she said her 1,000 square feet, it was upstairs, downstairs equal 1,000 square feet. So my interpretation was that it was 500 maybe down, 500 top, or maybe it was just 1,000 square feet and then it was the second level. Well, I'm 2,000 square feet and there's only one level. And during the pandemic, all of us was in one house, and I was like, for my sanity, for being able to run my business, I just can't. So that's when I went and got a office suite, a 3-room office suite, 10 minutes away from my house, if 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes away. And she also says that she was in the smallest house in her subdivision. And this is who I'm talking about. She is Rachel Rodgers. Her smallest house in her subdivision. Well, I am the smallest house in my subdivision. I jokingly say when people come visit me for the first time that, because they have to ride by, like, the first neighborhood in front of us is $500,000 homes. I literally went on there last night to see the square footage of those homes after finishing this chapter. And I also went to go check and see the cost of the book, not the book, somebody type right here, I got my book, the cost of the homes now. So they originally were like, when they were built in 2020, were like $500,000 homes, and now they can go for 1 point something, like 1.2 mil. And so I was like, when people, so I joke, I'm reading the comments. I gotta swipe these over because everybody's commenting. I jokingly say that when people come to my house, like, oh, you thought she was about to drive up to one of these big houses, right? Because when they drive up, like, I'm literally the smallest house in my subdivision. When you ride down the street, I'm the smallest house in the subdivision in front of us. When you go on further down the street, I'm the smallest house in my neighborhood, which is exactly what she said was her story in this book. As she was in this chapter about $1 million vision, she was the smallest house in her neighborhood. And then she sat down and mapped out her dream life. I've done this. I am where I am at. Tammy's like, that's good real estate. Baby, that's good real estate. I just caught, when I went for a ride the other day, because one of my consultants has a huge home around the corner, and I needed to go, somebody bought some jewelry from my website, and I can't find it nowhere around here. I just can't find it. And I want to hold up their order. So I went to her house, which is 5 minutes around the corner. I could literally walk to it, but it was raining yesterday. And when I was driving, it's a back way to get to their road. So like they just paved it, more of it, but then at a certain point it stops being paved and it's gravel. So I rode through the gravel and I called my husband back home. I was like, babe, they are building some houses back here. Like they haven't even built the homes already. They just cut the ground. I did see the bottom frame of one house being built, and I was like, our home value is about to go up. We are about to be in there. Like I was excited about being the smallest house in the neighborhood is a great thing because it increases your home value, especially when there's open land around you. That now they are building homes. I was like, when we decide to sell this, I don't want to use what we sell when we sell it. I don't want to use it for our new home. I want our new home to be bought with whatever we are able to buy it with our current salary. But if I sell this current house, I want to sell it and buy two rental properties, right? So this is how her chapter starts off about where she was, and this book was written in 2021. I think it was written in 2021 because the numbers that she put in here, I was like, are these realistic numbers for me? So she says on page 100, this is really good. This is the T right here, and I did this for myself. She said that she decided to sit down and calculate her dream life. Like, what does her dream house cost? And she looked around and she said that the dream houses were, what she put the price was. It's in here on page. Oh, she looked at how much the mortgage would be. So the mortgage would be, if she did a 2.7, because she looked at the house that were at the top of the hill of her neighborhood, and there would be 2.7 million. And she was like, I don't need 2.7 million, which would be $12,000 mortgage a month. So she says on page 100 that she was like, I'm going to go for a $1 million home, which would be $5,000 per month. And this was in 2021. So these numbers aren't too far off from where we are now. She said she wants be able to invest in for her kids in extracurricular activities. So that was $500 a month. She wanted private school for her kids. So that's $3,500 a month. She wants a Mercedes SUV. So that's $1,200 per month. She wants 4 family vacations a year. So that was $2,000 per month she would need to put away. So that's $24,000 over the year for her 4 family vacations. And then she wants to be able to pay her mom's rent every month, which is $1,300 a month. That meant she would need to make, and she wanted to have a full-time nanny and a housekeeper, which would be $4,000 a month, a personal trainer, $800 a month. And she said when she added it all up and rounded up, she set her goal to $25,000 per month, which is $300,000 per year. And then she went to work to make it happen. So I did the same thing last night. Now, the funny thing is, I did this. When I lived at my dad's house, I was teaching overseas for 3 years. And when I moved back to the States, I first moved in with my great aunt. And then my dad was like, I have a 3-bedroom house over here, 2-car garage. It's only me. You and my grandbaby can come stay over here. So I went and stayed with my dad. And it didn't make sense to me to leave his home and move into an apartment. So I left his home. I made a plan of leaving his home, going into my own home. So I did. I stayed there until I saved up. And while I was there, I was a teacher. And then I became a coach. And then I became assistant principal. And that's when I bought my home. And I was very particular about where I decided to buy my home, which has paid off tremendously. Because how much I own this house and how much it's worth, which is a lot of people's story right now. If you are in a decent area. I'm in an area where the prices of homes go up every year, period. That's not the case for all areas. And I'm not in real estate, so I'm not giving any advice. But I ended up buying in a great area because I literally sat down and I said to myself, what would I need to do to clear my credit? This is the kind of house. Like I looked around, this is the kind of house I want, this is how much it's gonna cost, this is the kind of neighborhood I want to live in, this is the kind of school I want my daughter to go to. It was what my dream life was that I saw at that moment. Again, and when I go back, hindsight is 2020, I should have been dreaming way bigger. So you want to know what my way bigger dream is right now? Yesterday, based on what the outline she gives right here in 100, and this is not even what we're going to talk about today. This is just leading up to what we're going to talk about in this chapter about the $1 million vision. So last night I went online. I didn't even put in a specific location in Georgia, although I probably should look in other places, but just based on Georgia. I put in a search I want at least 5 acres of land because I want to be able to have our home and then have a second home, almost like what we're doing right now, because I have I have our house, which is behind me. I'm sitting in my 500 square foot office building that has a full bath that could convert, and I have enough space in this that I wanted to make sure that Mila, my 2 year old, if we wanted to, we could hire someone to come teach her in this room while I'm working. And then later on, it could be where our teenager, when they are off in college, come home and don't come inside our house. They bring their butts out here, so they ain't coming into my house at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not one of those parents that are gonna be like, I don't care if you're in college coming in at 4 a.m. You ain't doing that here. No, like you're a full adult. I want you to come home and visit. So respect this space, and you can come stay out here. All right. So I'm basically living a minor version of my vision for later, which is what she talks about in this book. Okay. She literally talks about later on in the chapter about turning your $1 million vision and be her now. So I am being her now I am being my $1 million self, my multi-million, because if I did the math, a million's not going to make it. My multi-million self, I'm being her now with the house and the second building, which is what I want. So last night I did the numbers, and when I did 5 acres, which is what minimum I want, and then I saw a house that had 20 acres, I was like, we can afford that. The we that I'm going to be, the vision we. So I did the numbers and I put it in the back of the book. Per month, I need to gross $71,000 a month for, at the max of our housing budget would be $3 million. $3 million is the max. All right. That's living in an ideal, like Beaufort, Georgia, with 11 bedroom home. I think I had 11 and a half bathrooms or something like that. That's not what I need in one home, but I do need that combined between 2 homes, because I want to be living in one house, and then I want to have like retreats. And on my land, it's 5 acres. Like, they could be in the back corner of my land. They can come in on different entrance and never even see my house. And I can do retreats back there, trainings back there. That's my $1 million vision. Okay? And so I want a teacher / housekeeper. I put her monthly amount. Extracurricular activities. I was talking to my husband last night. I was like, you know what? I've never thought about private school, because I'm an educator and I know that they ain't teaching them kids anything different than they get in public school. But it's literally not about the education. It's about the surroundings. So I don't know if you watch the St. James. What is the name of that show on Showtime? The 50 Cent show. I know some of y'all in here watch. I got 19 people live over here and 16 people live over here and 1 live over there, because I'm live 3 different places. So what is the show with the St. Patrick's and the son is now in private school? It's a, what is it? What's his name? It's a 50 Cent production on Showtime. And so his son is now going to a private school. Power. Thank you, Sabrina. I know y'all knew Power. Thank you, Miss Neal. So Power is the show that I'm watching. He's going to school He's going to a private school. So if you haven't seen the last episode, it's going to be a spoiler alert. But he gets an internship in college because his roommate, now this is thank you, Pamela, she's over there and said ghost and power, exactly. So he's getting this internship to work in a building that he wouldn't have gotten before, but because his parents sent him to private school, he got entrance into this very select college. He is rooming, actually, is he in college? College ball, high school ball, going to the league. I don't know, I can't even think if he's in college, he's in high school before. So, or is it private high school? They're not in college yet, are they? They're still in high school. Either way, he's going to a private school, and it's not necessarily the education. I'm an educator, like elementary school, assistant principal. They're not learning anything special. The experiences they get by being in a classroom with other people. So even if I'm at the bottom of the barrel and I'm making, $500,000, like the people in there are making 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. So when they ask my kid to go to their birthday party in Paris, it's different than asking my child to go to a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. That's what we're paying for when you go to private school. So I have never considered private school, but I was sitting down making my $1 million vision. He was in a private high school and got into a good college. Thank you, Val, because I was getting it mixed up. So when I literally last night sat there, because I've always been against private school, right? But when I sat there last night, I was like, she's either going to be homeschooled, good morning, or she's going to be in a private school. Not because what she's going to be educated in the books is better, but because what she's going to be educated through the experiences. Now, I'm also reading right now the 5 levels of leadership. I think that's the name of it. Audible book, or the 5 levels of leadership. And you take a test. Everybody, if you want to be a leader, are a leader, want to reach a next level of leadership, you got to get the book. It's by John, I think it's by John Maxwell. I'm pretty sure it's by John Maxwell. And one of the quotes he said, which I've heard this said in many different ways, is that, you know how they say you're only as good as the 5 people that you spend the most time with, or that case, or it's like 95% of what you're going to become. And this is a quote that he had. It's like 95% of what you're going to become is based on who you are around. So I'm giving my daughter, yes, 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Miss Neal. So that is the book. It's amazing. So I took the test, and I am a level 3 leader. I definitely have in my crew some level 5 leaders. When I was listening to it, I was like, girl, she's a level 5. Now, I don't even know right now if I aspire to be a level 5 after reading what it is. Level 4 would be great for me. And level 4 is when you take the test, you have to get 8 out of 10 things. I'm not an 8 out of 10, which is what makes me a level 3. So I'm almost there for a level 5 leader, and I'm excited about having that happen, right? But all of that to say, because we're going to get back to this book, is I have put on here in my millionaire lifestyle that private school is on the list. Okay, now after I added all this up of my ideal lifestyle, including how much, I even Googled utilities. All right, so the utility bill for an average home in America, and an average home in America is 1,500 square feet, and the utility bill I think was like $200, or the utilities, I can't remember the exact amount. So if that's 1,500 square feet, and I want like 15,000 square feet between the 2 buildings on my 5 acres or more, then I had to do times 10. So my utilities are probably going to be $8,000 a month. Now, before, I would have thought that will never happen. Or who does that? Who needs that? After reading this book, I'm like, me? Like, I remember earlier in this chapters, you have to definitely go back, because what I'm talking about right now is chapter 6. So maybe like chapter 3 or 2, she talks about people will look at like, why she need that $1 million home? But she says now she has that $1 million home, and she hosts events in it that are write-offs that build her brand. So it's not a $1 million home that she needs for her specifically. Her family doesn't need that space, but her business, her lifestyle, the next level she wants to go to, the way she wants to inspire other people require that house. That's exactly how I feel. We don't need 11 bedrooms. We don't need 10,000 square feet. But the lifestyle that I want others to realize that they want to have, that they can have, how I can inspire people to that, I need it. I needed to be able to have the retreats, because I don't want to have to go and rent out a facility for a retreat. Why can't the retreat be in my backyard? And why can't my backyard be 10 acres? So the 3 things, or the next steps you should take after you do this activity, after you do the activity of creating your $1 million vision, these are the next 3 things to do. All right, get your pens and papers, mark what time it is. You can come back to this point in the live, because I really only have 7 minutes left, but I'm definitely going to go over today. What makes you feel like $1 million? That's why I got this cardigan on, this blazer on today. That's why I brighten up the lips today. That's why I come on here on Tuesday Tea. The rest of the week, you won't see me in makeup. I do this for a Tuesday Tea. But this makes me feel like $1 million. What makes you feel like $1 million? Nails done? I realized that this weekend, when I went to go share my business opportunity with some women, I went to go because I'm on a mission to educate others about what I do. I went to, thank you, Shuri. My nails had broken. Like, I've been working in this office space, getting the walls and everything ready, and a couple of my nails had broken. And I was like, there is no way I can go share with women how this is changing my life and how I can change their life too, and my nails are broken. I'm going to feel like $1 million if my nails are fixed. That makes me feel like I feel different when my hair is done. I feel different when my nails are done. Now, this isn't just me. This is you. This is statistics, y'all. So based on what she says in this book, of all the work that's done, when there was a Harvard study and they had like 30, this is not quoting, all right? You go grab the book so you can quote it. They're say the number was 30. 30 people who came and did a job and had sweatpants on. There were 30 people who dressed for the part. What naturally happened, although they were the same equally with abilities, with education, with how much money they made, that the people who showed up with sweatpants on in casual wear would divert to asking the people who were dressed professionally for assistance. You can sit around here and act like appearance don't mean a thing, but it does. Now, you have to know what makes you feel like $1,000,000. Because for some, feeling like $1,000,000 is sweatpants and tennis shoes. They feel horrible when they put on heels. Thank you, Miss Harrison. They feel horrible when they put on heels. And they feel like they're not being themselves. But at the end of the day, appearance means everything. What makes you feel like $1,000,000? And then show up as that. Be that now. Now, the difference is because she says she coaches people and they'll ask her, well, does that mean I need to go spend money I don't have and buy the $1,000,000 home? No, I didn't just go spend money I didn't have and buy the $1,000,000 home. I just built a 500 square foot building on my 1 acre. So right now, I have a smaller view of my bigger vision. I walk out of my bigger home and I literally come out here to you all and I train out here on live video in my 500 square feet. But the goal is that you will be paying me or someone like you will be coming to my 5 acres, 5 times what I have right now, which means this 500 square foot building would be 5 times what it is right now. So you build what you want now, which is like a smaller replica of the big thing. If you want to wear red bottoms, then what do we wear red bottoms with? If your goal is to be able to afford the red bottom shoes, if your goal is to be able to afford the Louis Vuitton purse, and really it's not the purse, it's the lifestyle that comes along with it. If that is your goal, are you going to grow up? We're going to call this grown up, right? Are you going to wear the red bottom shoes with sweatpants? No. So it doesn't mean that you have to go and buy the $500 suit now. But I bought 3 of these blazers that I just got compliments on Shein for less than $20. I brought it in yellow, I brought it in pink, and I bought it in this tan. And this shirt right here came from Kohl's. And y'all know how much my jewelry is. So be her now. What does that $1,000,000 look like right now? Number 2, what does the $1,000,000 life look like? So it's what makes you feel like $1,000,000 and what does the $1,000,000 life look like? So she says on page 105, your $1,000,000 vision. What does your $1,000,000 life look like? I'm going to put the book up here while I'm reading it. What kind of work do you want to do? How much money do you want to earn? After I did all the math in the back of my book, because I did the math right here, I need to earn to have the lifestyle that I want $135,000 a month. That is $1.6 million a year. Now, I've always set the bar at $1 million. Like, I was like, well, I hit $1 million, it's going to be great. Well, based on the lifestyle I want, I need 1.6 mil. That's not $83,333 a month. That is $135,000 a month. That is $4,500 a day I need to make for my lifestyle. I need to make to change more people's lives. Not change them at the level that I'm at now, but change them at a higher level. So they too can be on 5 acres. So she says, where do you want to live and what do you want to do with your free time? What will your daily life look like once you are making more money? On page 107. Now, if you're right now, she gives an activity right here of how to live like a millionaire. Step 1, mentally upgrade your everyday life. Precious says, my lesson is mindset. Mindset is everything. That is literally step one. Mentally upgrade your everyday life. And there's a whole activity for how to do that. I don't have time to go through that today. Grab the book. We should all be millionaires. The page is 105. Step 2, she says, run the numbers. I ran the numbers. Step 3, brainstorm money makers. Step 4, commit to your first upgrade. I wrote right here, YouTube, Facebook Lives. That is a commitment to my first upgrade. Guess where I'm at this morning live? Hey, YouTube. I see you, boo. Read it last night. Put it in place today. Because this month, this book, quarter 2. So for the April, May, and June, we are reading books about taking action. Reading these books don't mean, they mean a lot. Like, you have the information, it becomes your intellectual knowledge, but it becomes even more when you actually take action. And April, May, and June, if you here with me on the Tuesday tea with me, we're taking action. And so I took action. I literally wrote right here, step 4, commit to your first upgrade, YouTube Live, Facebook Live. Hey, YouTube. Hey, YouTube, I'm live on YouTube. Now, I do have more than one YouTube page, and the one YouTube page I couldn't go live on, so I spent like 15 minutes trying to figure out how I could go live, and it didn't work, so I was like, I'm going to go live on my other Facebook page, on my other YouTube page. So, how do you figure out what your $1 million life looks like? Like, what do you really want? She says on page 107, I think this is genius. Follow your jealousy. Ooh, that's the tea. Follow your jealousy. Drop that in the comments, baby. For so long, we look at being jealous as a bad thing, as a negative. She said the word jealousy, now she defines it for you, so I'm reading here, derives from the Latin word that means zealousness, or zealousness, which means full of zeal. So in many old languages, the root word for jealousy has a positive connotation and refers to emulation, devotion, or watchfulness. I too, that's what she says, she believes jealousy is a positive thing. It can be a signal of what we want for ourselves. She said, for example, she used to babysit a girl, which is in chapter 1. And when she went to her big house in a beautiful, safe neighborhood, she was jealous because she wanted those feelings of safety and security that the lady enjoyed in her big house in a safe neighborhood. She wanted it to be surrounded by beauty and have a pantry full of snacks, just like the lady's family had. She said, likewise, when she saw one of her clients going on international vacations 3 times per year, she was jealous. She wanted to have enough disposable income to afford multiple lovely vacations each year. And when a friend showed her his bank account statement and how much he had earned in 1 month, which was $90,000, she wanted that for herself too. And when another friend wrote a book and became a best-selling author, she knew she wanted that too. She says, when you do not grow up with different examples of what success can look like, it can be hard to dream. Many of us have been taught that when we have those feelings, you're envious, you shouldn't be jealous of what they have, don't want what the Joneses have. I'm here to say, because this is definitely how I operate. I went and picked up that jewelry, and she opened up that door. The person I went to go pick up the jewelry from, I didn't have to go to her house. I follow her on Facebook. When I see them pictures in her house and that nice painting sitting behind her, those 2 leather chairs sitting right there, that the room, I can just imagine the square footage of the room that she's standing in. Baby, I'm jealous. I want that. So if you're ever in a place, Tanisha, hey girl, start over, catch the replay. So if you are somewhere, the Audi that I have now, I have an Audi Q7. I literally remember being an assistant principal and having to go to a training with her, and she offered to drive. So I got in the front seat of her Audi Q7, and I was like, I want this. Like, I was literally looking around like, this leather is nice. Oh, she has a thing that pops up when the car comes on. Like, I was just sitting around like, now I had a Infinity, a older Infinity, like old where the leather starts cracking and stuff. And Val says, that's my car, can I ride? But I was very specific. During the pandemic, I worked my business like a boss because I remember riding down, I lived like 15 minutes east of Atlanta. I remember riding downtown my old car during the pandemic and nobody was out, right? Because nobody was out. It was like a dry, dead town of Atlanta, if you can imagine. And I remember saying, when this pandemic is over, I refuse to drive downtown Atlanta in this car. So I went to work, baby. And I went and bought my Audi Q7. And when I say my payments are like five, I only owe $15,000 on that car. Because I put a nice down payment on there. So that if anything ever happened, because I can't predict what was going to happen after the pandemic. The pandemic was really sweet for my business. I couldn't predict what was going to happen. So I didn't want to be in a predicament where I couldn't afford my lifestyle. That's very important to me, is to always be able to afford my lifestyle. And so I made sure I had enough money to put down on it that my monthly payment was going to be easy peasy. That if my finances change, we could make that payment and pay this mortgage without losing sleep. And so I always tell people that I drive this Audi Q7, but my payments are like I'm driving a Honda. And so that is definitely what I encourage people to do, is create the vision. What does it look like? So that jealousy factor, when you are riding, when I rode in that car, I was like, man, I gotta have this. And I got it. I test drove other, what are they called? Not leisure cars. What do they call these vehicles? Luxury. I test drove other luxury vehicles. I know my neighbors, because my neighbors are, mature individuals. They're all retired. And so I did Carvana because it was during the pandemic. So I had Carvana come and drop off an Audi to me, and then I sent it back. I was like, this one ain't it. It was white and caramel colored on the inside. And I know my neighbors are probably like, dang, did they repo our stuff already? Because I imagine that because of their age, they don't know what Carvana is. They'll have to drop off the car and somebody comes back and picks it up in 7 days if you don't want it. So I did that. And then I actually then went down into a dealership. Right, Deanna, you were not jealous, you were inspired. But that's the way that she describes it. If you're having a hard time knowing or coming up with what your $1 million life looks like, think about the feeling you have when you are around certain people. Like she was around, and if you are around people, then that hashtag goals. Like increase your circle so that you can have these experiences. Like my aunt has been a millionaire. So I remember at a young age going into her huge home with 3 levels, with like the neighborhood. It was like, wow, riding into it. Some people have never had that experience. So the first time that they will do it is at 40. And it makes a big difference. That's right, teacher. Increasing your circle makes a huge difference. The fact that I can roll around a corner and actually walk into somebody's house that's 5,000 or 6,000 square feet and realize that I could have that too. The next part is, so the first point was, what makes you feel like $1 million? The second part is, what does $1 million look like? Life. What does $1 million life look like? And she says on page 109, imagine how the woman whose dreams are fully realized and who has accomplished everything she wants to accomplish approaches her work, her relationships, her time. I got a story for this, and her self-care. So I don't know if you follow me on Facebook. We're Facebook friends. Yesterday I posted how I had to call my lawyer. I don't play like I keep my lawyer on. I have one. Like it's not one of those things when you do business with me. It's not one of those things where I'm screaming I'm gonna call my lawyer and I don't have one. When I say I'm gonna call my lawyer, I'm calling him. There's just some conversations and some peace of mind that doesn't need to be broken, and so I leave it to the professionals. And things always get done when they get a letter in the mail or they get a call from a lawyer. Always. So yesterday, I overpaid for my office suite because I had automatic payments coming out. It was an automatic withdrawal that would go pay my rent for my office suite. I moved out of there in January. It's April. And the last payment, the last month, the contract said that my deposit would cover last month's rent. Well, my automatic payment, I canceled it for after the last month rent. So basically, they got paid twice. They kept my deposit, which was last month's rent, and they got paid for my direct deposit. My automatic, it was a money transfer. I had it set up for a money transfer. So, I went to the leasing department because the person who owns it doesn't handle it. They have a leasing office handling it. Went up there nicely when I left, when I moved out, talked to them twice, went up there talked to them a third time. Then she gonna call. I said, you know what? On the phone yesterday, don't even worry about it. I'm not calling back up here anymore. I'm just gonna have my lawyer call you. So then she says, I hang up the phone. She called me back. Oh, did you know your check is available? It's up at the Shell gas station because the owners of the building official office, because I had already looked it up. I had already looked up their LLC. I had already looked at their address. Their address for their office is the Shell gas station, right around the corner from my house. Cool. She says they have a check waiting for you at the gas station. Do you know where it's at? I said, yes, I know where it's at. Now, mind you, I have direct deposit. I did a money order from my office for my bank account to pay them rent because I'm a business owner. This is how I operate. I'm not going to pay rent monthly by walking into no Shell gas station dropping off a check. I'm not renting a 1-bedroom in an apartment complex that has subsidized housing. That's not my story. I am renting an office suite in an office building with other professionals. I'm not dropping a check off at a Shell gas station. So either you're going to upgrade how you do business or we're going to figure something out. What we figured out is I could wire from my business account to pay them. We did a checkup at Shell gas station. Now, only reason I went to this Shell gas station to get this check is because I had to go to the post office to drop off product, paid orders. And it was right around the corner from there. So I go inside there. There's no check. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sure there isn't. I'm sure there isn't a check up here. Don't worry about it. I told them too. I'm just going to call my lawyer. That's who y'all going to hear from next. So I called the lady back just to let her know that the next person, because I don't want y'all to be confused when my lawyer calls and your answer to them was we told her to go pick up the check. I went to go pick up the check. The check is not there. And so the next person you're going to hear from my lawyer. So I go home. I have a missed call from the head because I was a secretary, from the head of the leasing office. And he says, my apologies. I should have told you who to ask for when you went to the Shell gas station. Are you available? It's 5:30. Are you available to go? He's like, I have the check. I'm going to go get the check. I'll call you when I have the check. And I said, okay. So he calls back. He says, I have the check. Now, this is all going to the part where she says her time. Imagine how the woman whose dreams are fully realized and who has accomplished everything she wants to accomplish approaches her work, approaches her relationships, approaches her time, and her self-care. Time, right, Val? Time. Listen to this. So he says, I have the check. I'm leaving at 6 o'clock. The time was 5:30. Will you come get it today or tomorrow? I'm trying to think of the exact wording he said. My answer was neither. I'm not running out my house. I'm at home with my child in the comfort of my. I'm not running out my house to go pick up a check that y'all should have been because you said you were mailing it. So it should have been in my mailbox, and the furthest I should have to go is from my front door to walk out to my mailbox. If that, because I have a husband who checks it and kids who check it. So now, in 30 minutes, you want me to run up out my house and come around the corner, even though it's around the corner and pick up a check? I'm not doing that. And he says, would you like to go to the gas station? No, this is before he picked it up. Would you like to go to the gas station and pick up the check? He said, would you like to come to the gas station and get the check or something else? And I said, neither. One, I'm not going back to no gas. It's not even the best Shell gas. I felt like when I walked in there, I was doing a drug transaction. Now, if y'all never grew up like that, if y'all understand the corner gas station where people are exchanging money for drugs, then this may not relate to you. But I've been there. I know which gas station it is. I see the behavior. I know the people who frequent it. Like, that's the kind of Shell gas station you have me trying to show up to pick up a check. I'm not that. I have earned the ability to not have to go pick up a check that is owed to me from a Shell gas station with people who are there who are not. I shouldn't have to put myself in this situation. So I'm gonna walk out with this check with my baby in the car. No. So neither. I'm not going to gas station to pick up a check, and I'm not going to my house tonight. And he said, well, this is what I'll do. I know y'all about to make, because I have already gone online to find out how to contact y'all. I'm getting all the information I need, so when I get on the phone with my lawyer, he has everything he needs to handle it. So y'all, I'm not saying this, but this is what I'm thinking. Y'all better get this together. So he calls back and he says, I have the check. I said, okay. Neither. This is what my point is. This is a story I want to share because this is real life, right? Imagine how the woman who dreams are fully realized handles situations, her time. You're running around stressed and driving yourself crazy when the lifestyle you want, the woman who's living the life that you want, is not doing that. I'm not doing that. I don't owe you anything. You owe me. This is the second time I've had to contact my lawyer. This would have been the second time. The first time, because I don't owe you. You owe me a check. I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to have my lawyer contact you. Then I had direct deposit. So that's the thing she says right here. You can be her now. If the level you want to be is my level, you can be me now. For me, it's not my level. I can be the woman that I aspire to now. This is how. On page 110, she says, be her now. Maybe you can't quit your job right now, but you can create a side hustle that can begin to replace the income from your salary. Maybe you can't hire a housekeeper right now, but you can use a drop-off service and save the time it takes to do the laundry. Maybe you can't hire an assistant to protect your schedule right now, but you can start saying no to the things you don't want to do. That's an example of me saying no to the things I don't want to do. We have time. We say, oh, I don't have time to do that. Honey, you have time to do all the things that you want to do. Stop spending time doing things you don't want to do. And she talks about this earlier in the book, about being able to say no and not feeling guilty about it. As women, we are taught, she talks about this, we are in a man's world, and we are taught to feel guilty about putting ourselves first. Because, baby, when she said a dream, what is your dream life? My dream lifestyle is waking up and somebody's already feeding Mila. That I walk into the room and she says, good morning, mommy. And I say, good morning, Mila. And I give her hugs and kisses. And I say, good morning, Keisha. Because Keisha done already made them breakfast. Keisha done already put her on the potty. I'm not going to feel guilty about that. And then nobody going to make me feel like I'm less of a mommy because that's my dream life. Angela says, I'm on the way to feed Mila. But listen, by the time I get there, Angela, you might be the one feeding Mila because that's the kind. I want a grandma figure to come in. And it might be her grandma. It might be her grandma who's doing it. Who I'm like, listen, sell the house. Come up here. We got a house for you in the back. You just come in the morning. You take care of Mila. You get her lesson ready. Put her online or send her off to drive her to the private school. But I'm not going to feel like less of a woman. I'm not going to allow people to make me feel like less of a woman because that's my dream life. Or maybe your dream life is you are able to be the one because right now you're dropping your child off the daycare and somebody else is feeding them in the morning. You do put the clothes on them, but when they mess up their clothes, you're not the one there to change it. If that's not your dream life, if you want to be the one to do that, then great. Don't let anybody make you feel guilty for wanting that lifestyle. On page 111, it says, you are responsible for the results you are getting. We are responsible for the results we are getting. Those results are on us to change. I didn't say it, but I believe it. We should all be millionaires. By Rachel Rodgers. The kind of changes you will want to make to your daily habits depend on the woman you want to become. not what society says you should be doing. Be Her Now is not about accumulating debt. It is about behaviors. She says, if you want to take a trip, she gives an example on page 113. And she says, an author of a book, Own It All, is an entrepreneur, Andrea Isabella Lucas, wrote a book called Own It All. And she says she changes her wordings from but to and. So she says, I want a tropical beach vacation, but I have no money. Instead, she says, I want a tropical beach vacation in the Caribbean, and I have no money. So changing, I want to send my kids to summer camp, but I have tons of credit card debt. Change it to, I want to send my kids to summer camp, and I have tons of credit card debt. How could you create this without the money right now? And a prime example is I was an assistant principal, because it says right here, could you convince your employer to send you to the Caribbean for a professional training retreat? And some of y'all are like, my employer would never send me to the Caribbean for a professional training retreat. Listen, now mine wasn't about going to the Caribbean, but I did not want to be in that school building. I love natural light. Being inside that brick school building, I hated it. When it got, now in the wintertime it was one thing, but when it got sunny outside, I wanted to be outside. You could find me outside checking on the kids and the teachers on break, on recess, way more often just because I wanted to be outside. I would literally put my work on something I needed to do on the computer. I would like print it out and put it on a clipboard and have my pencil and be out. Now they probably thought I was, assessing who was watching the kids and who wasn't. I was getting my work done in the sun because I wanted to be outside. So what did I do? I found trainings that I knew my, this battery about to go dead. That means it's time for me to end this live soon. I knew would allow me to get out the building. So they would send me to trainings in downtown Atlanta. And honey, I was in no rush to get back home. If the training was a half-day training, I'd stop and get lunch downtown. I'd stop and do some grocery shopping. The mileage would be on the school system. And the training was good. I'd come back and I would train the trainer. So I went to train. I'd come back and train other people in the county or the school about it. Right now, on my list this year, I want to take my family on 2 trips because we haven't been taking trips. And it's honestly because I haven't planned for it. Guess what? One of our trips is now free because I went to one of those. Now, on my plan was to budget and pay for it. Like, pay $10,000 for it. It's like, when I literally did the same thing. What trip do I want to take? How much is it going to cost for us to get there? All inclusive, $10,000 for my family of 5. And I was also going to take grandma or auntie. One of them was going to come with us. So that when we're there, we can, at nighttime, after we do the family activities in the daytime, at nighttime, hubby and I can go enjoy wherever we're at, in Mexico or wherever we went, not Florida. And husband and I went to one of those presentations, and now we have a trip for free. So stop saying what you can't do. Instead, figure out how it can be done. You can be her now. And then the last thing on page 115, she lists 25 ways to be her right now. Because some of y'all are like, that sounds great, Christy, but I don't know how to be her. Grab the book. We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. And she lists 25 ways to be her now. Here are 25 ways you can begin to be the woman you want to become right now. I've already highlighted some things. Or I put a hearts by it. This heart. Hire a personal. I've literally told I had 2 personal assistants during the pandemic, 2 personal assistants, and a in-house assistant. Right now it's just me. I'm doing this all by myself. Podcast, Tuesday tea, increasing my product sales, all of this, I'm doing it on my own. No assistants. I literally went from 2 virtual assistants and an in-house assistant to just me. Now, Mila was a baby. She's 2 years old. So I think part of it is like, she's not little anymore, so on and so forth. So this was genius. Hire a personal assistant or virtual assistant, $20 an hour, 5 hours a week. Y'all do the math. 20 times 5 is $100 a week. Times 4 is $400 a month. I can come up with $400 a month in my business right now. That's in addition to what I currently need to run my business and pay me. And it says start delegating things that distract you or drain you. Many of us, I've talked about this on other lives, on other Tuesday Teas, and I don't want to go too much into it, but many of us walk away from our next big thing because there's part of it that we don't like. Listen, newsflash, this is the tea. Y'all come in close. I don't like selling jewelry. It is not what I love about what I do. But I understand that it is what I need to do to change women's lives. That's what I like doing. I like changing women's lives. I like educating. I like teaching. I like helping women make growth. I like that. What avenue have I found to allow that to grow? Jewelry. Now, there are plenty of women who do this with me who love the jewelry. I love being the conduit to matching women who love doing it. They wouldn't have found this love if it wasn't for me. So, Val says she don't like invoicing. I can't stand packing up the product. I will sell it till I'm blue in the face. But I don't want to pack this stuff up and ship it out. Does that mean I need to throw in a towel and not do this? No. But what I can do, what she says here, is find the things that distract you or drain you. Like in the morning, I love spending time with Mila. I love my 2-year-old. But the time she needs me is the morning time, and that is my best think time. I can conquer the world when I wake up in the morning, and then it's put to a complete halt because I have Mila. I have the toddler. Because that's what works with me and my husband's schedule. So I'm working so that I can have somebody take the morning time for me. Not that I need to stop doing it. That's what a lot of us do. Oh, this ain't for me. Because when I was assistant principal, I didn't love every part of being an assistant principal. I didn't quit the job because I didn't love every part of it. There were parts I loved, which is what I'm doing now. I love the training. I love the coaching. I love to see the growth of the teachers. I hated working with the people who didn't want to be there, but they needed to be there because that was a job. It was a job to them. They didn't love teaching kids. They didn't have confidence that they could do anything else. So they kept showing up to this job, something that they could do that they didn't love. And they had no interest in growing. And I was responsible with helping them. I hated that. I hated working with the people who didn't want it. Now I'm in a position where if you don't want it, I don't have to work with you. I have a choice of who I get to work with. So that's just one thing on this list. Another says is to invest in a bottle of perfume that you really love. Spritz yourself daily. Ooh, smells like money up in here. I'm going to do that. Listen, you can tell Miss Neal, you can tell your sister, she put me on because in Vegas, when you rent a certain level at the MGM, when you rent a certain level of room, they give you these free lotion bottles. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with this free lotion bottle. I don't even know what it's called, but it smells like $1 million. It smells like money. So I'm literally, when I get off this live today, it's on my list of things, it's on my calendar today, to go Google how I can buy the perfume to match this lotion. When I put on that lotion, baby, I feel like money. I don't know if anybody else knows how much this stuff costs. Because that's it, Miss Neal. I don't even know how to say it. It's BVLGARI, white. Vlgari white. I don't even know how to say it. That's how you know it's some good stuff. I can't even say it. I'm an educator. I can't even sound that out. The B probably is the BV and the L silent. Is it just Gari? I don't even know. I'm going to buy it. That's how you be her now. Vagari. Okay, thank you. She says Vagari. See? And that's my circle. Her sister Carla is a millionaire. She put me on to free lotion because, baby, I will book that room in Vegas at the MGM just for the free lotion. When we did a training in that room when we went to Las Vegas, and we rented it just for one day to train our team in when we were in Vegas, and it had 2 rooms. So the first thing I did when I went in that room was took the lotion. No shame. So you can let your sister know that if she invites me to her room, she might want to look out for her lotion. Because I like it. But now I'm going to do this list. 25 ways to be her now. I'm just going to go buy it. I honestly don't care how much the bottle costs. I'm going to buy it because I know how it makes me feel. I know how I show up when I have it on. I know that can't nobody tell me nothing when I walk in smelling like that. When I go to this meeting today, I'm putting it on. Other one, it says declutter your home and workspace. Less clutter immediately makes things feel more luxurious. Have you ever stepped into a 5-star hotel lobby that was crammed with unnecessary stuff? Nope. 5-star hotels are never crammed with unnecessary stuff. Number 5 says, have an orgasm with a partner or by yourself. You'll wear that sexy, relaxed glow all day long. Y'all better get this list. 25 ways to be her right now. So, action steps. Until you see me back here next Tuesday for the Tuesday tea, here's your action steps on page 117. It says, this is why you gotta get the book. Be her now. I'm not going to go through the one. Number 1 is an action step that requires you to have the books. Number 2 is be her now. Choose 3 ways you can start to behave like the woman who earns the amount of monthly income you want to earn. I did the math. My monthly amount is $135,000. So when someone asks me to do something, I'm thinking to myself, if I was making $135,000, would I feel obligated to do this? Hell no. Sorry, I'm not available. I can't do that. Be her now. And shift your language. Use and instead of but when thinking about the obstacles in the way of having what you want. Use creative thinking to find solutions to those obstacles. That's the tea. So I will see you back here next week for the Tuesday tea. Next week, we're going into part 2. Part 2, all chapters 1 through 6 was just part 1, y'all. Part 2 is $1 Million Road Map. So you got to know what is your monthly you got to make to live the lifestyle you want. Because I know my monthly, $71,000, is what I need to make to live the lifestyle that I want. So next chapter that I'm talking about next week on the Tuesday tea, right here with me, I'm going to create the event. Y'all go ahead and RSVP when I create it. $1 Million Value, $1 Million Pricing, and the $1 Million Team. I'm actually going on Fiverr to go hire somebody to upload all my Tuesday teas up to YouTube. Get it done. Now, if you'd like to be added, I do have a Facebook group. It's called the After Tuesday Tea. So if you would like to join the After Tuesday Tea, where we can talk and have discussions in there about this book and share our takeaways, share the actions that we've taken as a result, just comment, Val already did it, book club, and I'll more than likely just post the link for you to join. You have to answer the questions because some of y'all on the outside watching what's going on the inside. Because if you don't answer those questions, you're not getting in. I'm not playing with people. It's my no. So answer the questions when you get into the group so that I can approve you for the After Tuesday talk, where we are this quarter 2 is all about taking action. All right. I love y'all. And as always, thank you so much for joining me in here and allowing for me to share with you things that have helped me and are helping me to go to the next level in life. And I hope that it inspires you to do the same. Y'all have an amazing day. Be safe out there and get those actions done. Put things in place so you can be great because your greatness helps others to get to their greatness. Bye, y'all.